Hello everyone, many thanks for joining us to look at the sales management capabilities of Microsoft Dynamics 365. I'm Warren Butler, Head of Marketing at Preact, and I'm joined by my colleague Daniel Hunter. The focus for this session is an introductory demonstration of Dynamics 365 and its sales capabilities. We'll start by providing some background about the product, and we'll share examples of how Dynamics 365 benefits sales teams, as well as the wider value it creates for businesses. As a quick introduction, Preact are a CRM partner leading with Microsoft Dynamics 365. We hold Microsoft's highest accreditations for CRM and cloud solutions, and we provide help to implement and support all Dynamics 365 related requirements. In most instances, we support customers on an ongoing basis through a managed service agreement. This combines training, consultancy, and support, which helps organizations improve and extend their CRM system by delegating actions to our team and getting access to Dynamics insights and advice. Trading since 1993, today Preact supports more than 7,000 Dynamics users across multiple industry sectors. Before kicking off the demonstration, we'll start by covering some of the challenges that businesses often want to overcome and how Microsoft Dynamics 365 fits these needs. We've highlighted 5 requirements that are frequently shared, especially by sales teams when a new approach to CRM is sought, and several of these might match your own priorities. Each of these reflects the relationship that CRM represents between an organization's processes, its technology, and the people involved. The first challenge is to develop smarter workflows that increase productivity. Internal demands can often consume significant hours, and this limits the time for actual selling, which forces salespeople to continually multitask and switch between activities. Many of the sales teams that contact Preact primarily want to improve the efficiency of how their processes are handled to free up salespeople so that they can focus more on engaging customers and building relationships. In many instances, greater capacity is created by removing duplication, improving the quality of data, and re-engineering some aspects of the sales process. Another frequent requirement is unifying customer and process data by bringing this all together and making it accessible in one place for a complete view of each relationship. Increasing productivity when people are away from the office is another priority, enabling individuals to be productive wherever they work by connecting them to their data that matters to them. For sales teams, this can mean referencing CRM data in customer meetings, immediately capturing information in the system, and being able to have commercial discussions on the go because all of the detail is accessible through a mobile app. Often, the most important transformation that a connected Dynamics 365 system makes possible is in enabling teams to discover new insights from their data. With everything in one place and having embedded analytics, trends can more easily be uncovered. Organizations are then able to make timely, well-informed decisions that are driven by data rather than guesswork, and this enables sales leaders to discover new insights and essentially do a lot more with their data than previously seemed possible. Finally, by creating a single source of truth, Dynamics 365 increases transparency and it makes it easier for people to do their job, which ultimately helps to create a culture of greater collaboration and better decision making between individuals and teams throughout an organization. Microsoft Dynamics 365 is a series of connected business apps, and Sales is just one of these apps, which fits in alongside the other role-based apps, including customer service for case management, field service, and project management. These harness other Microsoft technologies, and Daniel will shortly demonstrate how Power BI analytics can be connected, but also how Dynamics surfaces Outlook, Excel, and other familiar Office 365 tools. Through a common data service, this flow of data can be extended across broader apps listed on Microsoft's App Source directory or through low-code apps which are developed using Power Apps and Microsoft Flow. So to take a closer look at the Sales app and how this empowers sellers to drive greater engagement, I'll pass the presentation across to Daniel. Thanks, Daniel.
Thanks very much, Warren. I'm just going to grab the presentation here and hopefully be able to surface my screen very quickly. Okay. So to those of you who are existing Microsoft Online customers, you'll be very familiar with our friend Outlook Online here. That's where we're going to be starting our presentation today, where many people start their day in the business world. And we can see here in our inbox, we've got an inquiry from a prospective customer wanting to get some pricing for one of our fictional products. Lovely. So got the normal Outlook interface here, but over to the right-hand side, we can see the Dynamics 365 add-in. So if you're a Dynamics 365 customer, you will get this plugin and it will stick into your, whether it's Exchange Outlook Online or whether it's Outlook installed on your machine, you'll get a little button that you click on, similar to this one here, that launches this external pane to connect to your Dynamics 365 database. So in this terms here, we can see it's picked out that in this case, this email comes from an unknown recipient. So it's encouraging me to create a new either contact or lead. And we'll come on to the differences between these types of individual in a bit. But at the moment, I'm going to add this contact, this person as a lead. So I click create the lead here. I can add a topic. So I'm going to put would like some pricing. There we go. And pull through the first name and the last name here, but I'm just going to change those because I don't want it to say Philip Support. There we go. Just going to call this one. There we go. It's Trevor Support now. He's lovely. Company name, can fill this in because we can see that is Preact. And it's obviously filled in the contact email down the bottom here. So that's lovely. And I can hit save there. That will go away. Create a record for that in the database and track that email against that record. As we can see here, that email has been successfully tracked. So a few clicks there, we've got an email into our inbox, and we've now turned that into a record in Dynamics 365 that we can then engage with and follow up from a sales point of view. So this is the end of the Outlook part of the presentation, and we're now going to move on to the Dynamics 365 itself. Click over to my next tab here, which will be Dynamics 365. And here we are. So today we're going to be looking at what is known as the Sales Hub. So this is an interface that's directly aimed at sales users, and it uses what Microsoft termed the Unified User Interface, which means irrespective of which of your devices, whether it's, in this case, browser, or whether you've got a mobile device or a tablet device, you'll get the same interface across this unified interface. So across the platform, you get the same look and feel of the application. This is something that Microsoft have recently introduced to the application, so I'm going to showcase it here today. Looking at the application itself, we can see obviously the main area of the screen is concerned with your actual data itself. The navigation is contained within these black areas of the screen. So at the top here, we've got our search functionality. We've got the relationship assessment here, which is using the Cortana machine intelligence platform to surface things that the system thinks you ought to know. So if I'm just going to click on that now, and as you can see here, it's telling me, based on my Exchange information, based on the information that's in Dynamics 365 that I own, it's saying to me, well, actually, Daniel, you've got a sales webinar today at 2 o'clock, but also these two opportunities down here, the close date has passed on these. So you might want to actually open up these records and either update the close date or make some notes on here or phone the customer and do something. So it's surfacing this information for me. It's generating reminders for me. There we go. Okay, so that's the relationship assistant. I've got the quick create functionality. So I can quickly create new records by adding plus here. And that'll give me a list of all the various types of entity that I can create. And we've got the settings and the help area along the top here. So a few bits of functionality here, but the main navigation for this Sales Hub is contained on the left-hand side. So I click this out, and we'll see here, we've got our dashboards, we've got our activities list, and our accounts that we're working with, our contacts that belong to those accounts, leads that we might have open, any opportunities that might have come from those leads, again, competitors, and more of your sales-based collateral items down the bottom here. So I'm just going to start this off today by going into an account record. So I'm going to click on my accounts here, and we'll be taken to a list of, in this case, my active accounts. I've got the option to change the view that I can see here, so I can see all active accounts, or I can see just customers, or I can see accounts that I'm following in some way, shape or form. So I've got lots of different views that I can look at, but I can also have a default view, in this case my active accounts, which will also go to, or always go to, when I click on accounts. And of my accounts, I'm going to go to the Microsoft record. Why not? So this is then going to go to the main record for that particular account. Here we go. As you can see here, lots of various information points, as you would expect from a CRM solution. But as we can go down here, we can see some of these data types have got special functionality associated with them. For example, phone numbers. I've got a button here that I can click. That will open my default telephone interface system. So in this case, on this PC, it's Skype. If you've got Skype for Business, it will also work with that. So that will be click to dial, will open up your telephony application and start dialing straight from there. Similarly with the websites, I've got a button here that I can just click, it takes me to that website. Again, this case, it's got a stock ticker, I can click on that, it takes me to the, I think it's the MSN stock tick profile. So, got address information on the bottom here, all the sorts of information that you'd expect to see on an account record. And again, our ubiquitous relationship assistant window here is popped up to say, you've got a Dynamics 365 sales webinar. It's associated with Microsoft. That's why it's showing me here. And we've got the timeline in the middle, whereas where all our activity is created, stored. So if I'm looking for information about this particular account, I'd always go to the timeline in the middle. We've got Isaac here. He's the primary contact in this particular instance of Microsoft. So I can click on him. That then goes to his record. Similarly, it looks very similar to the account record, but the information stored on here is going to be different because this is to do with an individual rather than an organization. And we can see on the side here, I've got no insights for Isaac, don't need to do anything for him, but I've got some additional sub-quiz down the side here, so I can see any recent opportunities I might have had or any other related entities that we might have here. But looking at the sales cycle in particular, I'm going to head back to my Sales Hub, and I'm going to go to the Sales Activity Dashboard. So this dashboard is comprised of various pieces of information. We can see here I've got my opportunity pipeline. I can mouse over this and it tells me how much I've got in each stage, and if I click into one of these stages it will take me to a view where it's just those records that's been displayed. So I can see which opportunities are in which particular pipeline stage as I click down. That's quite useful for getting sort of targeted information. Head back up to the Sales Hub here, and I'm going to go into my open leads. I can see I've got a list of leads here, and I'm going to go into Alex's lead because she's top of the list. A lead is a cold piece of data, effectively. So it won't necessarily be an account or a contact in my system yet, because we've not established that they've got a business need that we can satisfy, or they're not a good fit for us as a business, so they stay in the system as a lead. And all the information about this individual and their organization is kept on this lead record. So we can see here, Alex, purchasing manager, phone numbers down here, the company address, and again, we've got our timeline view in the center here. At the top, we've got the process bar. So this guides us through working with this lead, turning it into an opportunity, maybe creating a proposal for sale, and then closing that sale off. And we can look at this process bar whenever we open a record to see where we are at with this particular lead or opportunity. I click on here, I can see, excellent. So these are the bits of information that I need to get before I can move this on to the next stage. Obviously, I need to know who they are, what the purchase time frame is, what the budget is. Now, these are just standard fields. If you've got specific business type fields that you need to include in your process, they can certainly be added to a process. But for the purposes of here, I'm just going to hit qualify once we're done talking about this page, and that will then turn this into an opportunity. It will create a contact, it will create an account, and the records will then exist in the system in a more fully featured state. But the timeline we spoke about earlier, we'll have a look at this now. So here we go, we've got the timeline here. We can see at a glance the history of this particular lead since it was created. So it was created on Monday. We had a meeting with Alex on the day after, and then we had a phone call the day after that, and I can see who did these things, who they were associated with. We've got an email here that went out with an attachment that we can see and click through, all from this central pane. And then in this case, colleague Lydia has made a post to this wall. So this is not visible to external customer. There's no interaction with the customer here, but she's left a little reminder for me not to forget to remind Alex about the launch of our new product. So I can see that also when I'm opening up the record. Or when I add a new activity, just go up to the plus here. I can add a new phone call, new task. I can associate with OneNote. I'll come on to that in a bit. But I can add any activity type here. So if I want to schedule a phone call, I'll just hit phone call. I'll get a little panel coming over here. It tells me what information I need to fill in to schedule this phone call. So obviously I need a date that I want to do it. I need a subject for the call. There we go, and description or outgoing or whatever else. I'm not going to create that now. But that activity management is all done through this central timeline panel in this hub. If I head to the top here, you can see we've also got a couple more what are known as tabs. So not all the information about this lead is held on this front page, just the important stuff. I've got more information that I need to store that's less important. I can store this in this details tab. So we can see here in this tab we've got our contact preferences. We've got information and more information about the company that's not immediately totally important. I click the related tab. I can now see a bit more information. So I can see all the related activities or any connections that this lead may have with other areas of the system, or indeed any documents. So you can use, in this case I'm using SharePoint, Microsoft SharePoint, to store documents about this individual. And I've also got a OneDrive notebook stored in my SharePoint. So if I want to do a bit, so maybe take some meeting notes while I'm on site and stick them in a OneNote notepad, then I can see here, this OneNote sticks straight to that lead. So anybody opening up that lead can add notes, can add sections, normal OneNote functionality. So if you've got more stuff that you need to be in-depth notes about an individual or a deal or any kind of account information, that can go into a notepad. We've also got standard document management via SharePoint or indeed via OneDrive that you can stick down the bottom here to associate documents to an opportunity, to a lead or an opportunity. I'm going to head back to the main page here. And at this point, we're now going to decide that actually this lead is qualification ready. So I'm going to qualify my lead here. Click the qualify at the top. And as I said, this will now go away. It will close this lead down, won't delete it, but it will mark it as being qualified. And as you can see at the top here, our process has now moved along one stage to what we're calling our develop stage. Interestingly, we can see here, since I last look at this records, two things have happened. So whenever I look at a record, an activity has happened since the last time I looked at it, that is summarized at the top here in the what you missed section. So I'm expecting this to say that an account and a contact was created. Yeah, fine. So that's not important. But if there was an activity and a phone call that happened with one of my colleagues or an email got sent out since the last time I looked at this opportunity, all that activity will be summarized in this what you missed area at the top here. But now we're on an opportunity. If I go to my process at the top here, we can see different information now needs to be filled in before we can move to the next stage. And I will also mention at this point, if you're on a screen where this is not easy to read, I can actually click this button up here, which moves this opportunity process right out to the sides and makes it much easier to read for smaller form factors and screens. But now we are on an opportunity. Now we start to introduce the concept of, in this case, product. So we've identified there's an actual business case here, and I might want to actually have a conversation with this individual and start maybe adding some products to this opportunity. So Dynamics 365 has got a fully featured product catalog that sits underneath the system with the idea of multiple price lists, multiple price products, all that sort of stuff. I've got the retail price list already defined in my system here. Just going to flick that over, save that record. So at this point, I can now query my product database, thank you, to add some products from my catalog. So if I click there we go. So I've got my various types of Grab one of those. The price per unit there, £1,250. This customer wants 3 of those. Hit save there, and then that's added to my opportunity. So very easy to manage opportunity worth, values, that sort of thing as we go along. Just click back into there. So once we've added those products, we can also then move on, if we want to do this through the system, to generate a quote. So again, in our tabs along the top here, the next thing along is quotes. I go to quotes. I can now generate a quote, which will pull all the product information that we associate with the opportunity into a new quote record. And here we have the new quote record. So we can see here the quote lines will all be pulling through from that opportunity. There we go, in this case, lots of different bits and pieces. And at this point, we can use a Word template to push that out into a quote that we can then send on to the customer. So that's utilizing Microsoft Word. I can click Export to Word there. That will throw out a Word document that we can then either convert to a PDF, attach to an email, make some changes to before we send. Gives you lots of flexibility about how you're actually going to use this information in terms of a quote that's ready to put in front of a customer. And so I'll just drag that over here so you can get a quick look at it. So you can see all the information is pulled through here, quantities, prices, and then a total at the bottom, etc., etc., etc. So these are all, again, completely customizable. If you've got your own company branding or note paper or whatever else that you need to use for this, these can all be included as part of that Word template. So at this point, we've got our quote. I'll activate my quote because I've now sent it out to my customer. So at that point, it puts the quote into a read-only state. So we can't change what's on this quote until we've heard back from the customer, whether they're happy or they want to revise something on it. If they call back and say, actually, I want to revise this quote, I could then close it, revise it. That then creates a quote revision. So we can see the revision history of a quote. But in this instance, I'm just going to say, yes, they were happy with that. We'll create an order for that quote. And a little box comes up here, say, okay, quote's won. This is the date that it was won. Do we also want to close the associated opportunity? Yes, we do. And do we also want to calculate the actual revenue for the opportunity from the closed quotes? In this case, yes, we do. So I'll close that off there. And then I'll close that quote down as one, create us an order, close the opportunity down as one. So for our pipeline and our financial forecasting and reporting, everything then is shown as one business and with all the correct values going through. We can see here now we're left with an order record. So what we do with this from this point is entirely up to us. We can manage this through Dynamics. We can integrate with some ERP platform. It's really entirely up to you. But I'm going to head back while we're talking about opportunities to my list of opportunities. So navigate to my opportunities list. Now I can see here I've got a list of all the open opportunities in the system. And I can see here who the owner of them is. And as you can see here, because I'm online, I've got presence using my Office 365 Skype for Business presence indicator. So it says that I'm online, got standard probability fields and everything else. Now, what if I want to filter this list out, for example? I just want to see opportunities for a certain customer or opportunities over a certain probability. What I've got at the top here is the dashboards. So I can click this, and this will now turn what I've got into a more easy to look at and filter view. So now this has turned that one view into 4 different lists. I click on my visual filter. I now get visual filtering. So I can say, okay, I just want to see opportunities for, in this case, Fourth Coffee. And I click that, and now everything underneath is updated to only show me that information. And this dashboard visual filtering view is available for all of the various entities that we've looked at. That will work for accounts, contacts, leads, opportunities, quotes, orders, any of those things. Okay, so the other half of what we're going to look at, or I said the other half, but the other side of this is we've been looking at all this stuff from the point of view of a browser-based user. Now, not everyone wants to work like that. So available also with Dynamics 365 is the idea of an app. So if I just, hopefully we can see what's going on there. I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger. so you can see what's going on. Okay, so this is my phone, my iPhone, and I've got the Dynamics 365 app loaded at the moment. So you can see here, this is very similar to what we've been looking at in terms of the web app. Obviously, I can go into the open lead that I've got here. I can see all that information that we were looking at before. I would do if it was going to reply. There we go. Respond. I've got the same click to drill down functionality on my pipeline chart. Here we go. So again, a lead record here. I can see all that information. I can see the timeline, and I can work with this in exactly the same way that I was working with it on my browser. But I've also got a bit more functionality now I'm on a mobile device. So you can see that little camera button there, or the little video camera button, or the little microphone button. I can add either picture notes, video notes, voice notes to these records using my mobile device. So obviously I couldn't do that with a PC, but now I've gone mobile, I've now got access to the technology that comes with your standard mobile device. So if I, let's just give you, so if I do this, there we go, oh, don't do that. I can click photo there, lovely. And then that's now, I can then use that photo, attach that photo to the record, and then that attaches as a new note. Lovely. So I'm just going to give that a quick title. There we go. And add the note there. And then that then appears as a note from my mobile device. So if I'm on a customer site or anything, I need to take some notes about something that I've seen, or something, a bit of information about a particular environment or anything else. I quick snap that with my camera on my phone and directly attach that into the Dynamics record. So if I cross this across here then, if I go back to Alison's record on my browser view, we'll also see that note on this record here. So where is Alison? Let's just sort that by name. There she is. Go into the record, look at my timeline pane here, and I can see what I missed since I was on this record last time, a new note. And I can see my note down the bottom here with that picture attached. So from whether you're on a laptop, or desktop-based application, or you're just mobile, iPad, Google tablets, any of those various interface devices, you can get access to your Dynamics data, and you're using that same interface across all the platforms. Okay, so we've looked at the basics of Dynamics 365. I'm just going to step back to the sales activity dashboard. So as we can see here, we've got a bit of information about the information in the system. So I can see I've got my sales leaderboard here. Obviously, I am at the top of the leaderboard because I'm the best, but my open leads, my opportunity pipeline, again, more information about opportunities and activities down the bottom here, which is all very well. But what if we need more analytics than that? And as Warren mentioned at the start of the presentation, I'm going to be looking at a companion service to Dynamics 365 called Power BI. So this is available again on your Office 365 platform, one of your Office 365 apps. You click up the top here, and if I click over to here, so this is Power BI. So this is information. It's an analytics platform, cloud-based analytics platform that's pulling information from my Dynamics 365 instance and doing advanced analytics on that information. So as you can see here, lots of different various tiles, what's our revenue won this year, how many opportunities have we won, pretty basic stuff, but geographic information, one revenue by industry, one revenue by owner. And if I click on any of these tiles, it will actually take me to an underlying report with way more information about the information that we've got. So as you can see along the bottom here, I've got 10 or so different tabs of various graphs and information available to me, which will be refreshing on a regular basis from my Dynamics 365 platform. And we can sort of share this out or pin this or give this out to various people, and it's available to them to consume. So if I look at the sales performance tab, and this is a standard what's called content pack for Power BI. So this is built by Microsoft, maintained by Microsoft. You just plug in what your Dynamics 365 URL is, give it a username and password, and it then goes away and does the rest of the work. If you want to get more involved with this, you can actually download and install Power BI and connect to the data set yourself. So if you want to build specific kinds of visualizations and interactions and then publish these up to the cloud, that's also available. But this Dynamics Sales, what is called the Sales Analytics of Dynamics 365 Content Pack, gives you, I would say, 90% of what any organization would need from a sales analytics platform in terms of their opportunity, close, pipeline, lead management, all that sort of stuff. It's all included in here. So I can see all that here. I can see the activity that we've been doing, what sort of activity, who's been doing it, filtering it by user. So lots of functionality involved in this. And again, it's just a content pack. There's no configuration involved in this at all. It's click and go as far as Power BI is concerned.
Thanks, Daniel. Following Microsoft's acquisition of LinkedIn a few years ago, this is also now part of the Dynamics 365 story. Integration capabilities are available to connect LinkedIn Sales Navigator team licenses with Dynamics 365. This embeds LinkedIn member profiles within Dynamics to give users more background detail about a person, and this can help with icebreakers in new lead situations and saves time switching between screens. Through this interface, mutual connections can be used to ask for new instructions, and leads can be quickly identified and brought into Dynamics. This could well be used to find the best path to reach a buyer, and that might include finding other members of a buying committee. With the ability to connect data, Dynamics 365 accounts and contacts can be synchronized to LinkedIn. And with the records badged, as shown here, it's easy to identify which LinkedIn records exist in Dynamics. Interactions are also synchronized, including in-mail messages, which can be launched directly from a Dynamics 365 record. Each license of Dynamics 365 also includes access to Microsoft social engagement. And this can be used by sales teams to identify new posts, which can be shared with their own network, and use this as a basis for perhaps positioning themselves as a thought leader, but also trying to generate new leads. And there's also capabilities within this service to convert certain posts into new lead records, which can be handled from within inside Dynamics. If that's something you'd like to find a bit more about, we have got a separate presentation about social engagement on our YouTube channel. But that concludes our main presentation for today. Hopefully that's given you a useful glimpse into the sales capabilities of Dynamics 365 to understand how this technology can help you transform your own selling processes to increase customer engagement and to discover new insights about your customers and your sales performance. If you want to know more about any of the functions that we've covered in this presentation, or you want to take a closer look at Dynamics 365, please do get in touch and we'll be happy to follow up. We'll pause for a moment or two to look through the questions that have come through, but if you are leaving us at this point, many thanks for your time, and we hope you found this session beneficial.